I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this is the Bible Reloaded.
And I'm sorry.
Today, we're doing something a little different. This isn't a full-on movie review.
It's what the fuck even is it?
I don't know what this is.
We just watched it like 5 minutes ago.
Someone sent this to us like a year ago, and we watched it once then, and we watched it once now, and it didn't make any more sense this time. Today, we're going to go ahead and check out what's known as Kids Praise 5.
We're skipping 1 through 4 for now. I don't know if we'll ever get to them. But it's a musical, obviously, towards Christian children. But there's this guy.
His name is Salty with a P because he's a psalm book.
Salty,
Salty. And he's a living book.
Yeah.
This is the cartoon version of him. This is not a cartoon.
No, this is live action ripped straight from someone's VHS.
Let's just get this over with. So it opens with that cartoon picture we showed you, maybe hyping you up to be like, oh, this is going to be like a cartoon, fine, sure.
And then
still shot of trees.
And then this horrifying piece of shit. Oh my god.
He looks like if Ronald McDonald had sex with a book.
But a rapey book.
He's in what I can only describe as blue face, because there aren't really blue people, but he's so offensive, I feel like there probably are blue people somewhere now being offended by this. So he asks the audience, us, the Christian children from the 80s, presumably, hey, we're going on a camping trip, do you want to come along? This is, of course, a rhetorical question, because both Jake and I said no, and it happened anyway, so I don't know why they bother asking. So he walks up to the kids, and they're completely unfazed by the fact that this is a giant anthropomorphic book. There have been 4 kids' praises before this that they have somehow gotten through, and they're no longer fazed by this horrific science experiment gone wrong.
And the first thing I think you notice that's not the book man is the shitty acting from children. We have bitched about child actors before in general. This is our nightmare.
I would watch the kid who played the kid in Heaven is for Real. I'd watch him perform Hamlet for 7 hours straight before I'd watch this again with these performances.
These kids are fucking garbage.
There's only a couple that I guarantee are probably working somewhere on Broadway because they're just fabulous.
This kid specifically, with his trendy belt. That sounds homophobic. It's not. I hope he came out. I hope he didn't repress it.
I hope he loves himself. But that kid is fabulous and he should not hide it any longer. This brother walks up to the book and he's like, I have to watch my sister. This is relevant for some reason. And the book's like, well, you should take care of her because your parents must trust you a lot to leave you here with me, a giant talking book man. And
or like, maybe they just hate their kids.
They must. I hate these kids and I don't have to live with them. So his sister, by the way, has the most annoying voice I think I've ever heard. And I know who Jennifer Tilly is for reference.
So they pray, and then the kids in the background do weird things in unison. I don't know why. Is that a thing that you do in church now? Are we that far removed that we've forgotten?
They gotta do it. Giant book. This giant book cult has very specific rituals.
So then he asks a little girl to open him. Because he's a book.
She goes around the back and opens him, and I don't know what kind of horrific genitals this giant book man must have, but I guarantee they're in there. She saw something that she can't unsee.
It's like a squiggly thing, and it kind of was like wet and made a like sound.
And he's like, just touch it a little. Please, no one else will. We're 4 minutes in, by the way, for reference. Yeah. This is 4 minutes in.
And so the theme throughout this will be, they'll have like 3 seconds of dialogue, and they'll say like, we have an issue! And then he's like, we'll sing about it, no big deal. Hiking through the forest and going up the mountain, holy shit, Jesus! And those are the songs, like, they're punctuated by, oh yeah, this is about Jesus, but they're really not about Jesus. They're just tacking him on.
Gotta be in the woods. You gotta have a new theme each time or the kids will catch on that maybe this isn't just entertainment. Maybe it's Jesus-tainment. This song goes on forever, by the way, as do all of this. The runtime on this is about an hour, and 90% of it is horrible songs, so we're gonna save you from that. We're not gonna play any of the songs. Also, just so happens they're probably copyrighted, so that might also be why. But seriously, you're not missing anything, I promise.
But the worst/best part of this show is about to happen. You would think that the sentient bookman is where it gets its worst parts from. No. Actually, it's the worst part of this is a grown man dressed as a dog getting touched by children. A lot.
Oh my god.
So much.
He comes on, and every moment that I have to look at this thing, it makes me uncomfortable.
Oh, look.
Look at him rub his butt on these kids. And
then this little girl touches his thigh a lot.
He's like rubbing it. It's not even like subtext I'm reading into. This dog is getting stroked. Okay, so the dog segues into a song by wagging his tail.
He's a rhythm dog.
And then it's about Jesus. It's pretty irrelevant to the overall plot, if you want to call it that. This series of events is sort of a plot. The song ends, and the kids are like, we're hungry, and Salty's like, okay, let's stop and eat. But they don't actually eat. They just sing another song. So I assume these kids are starving by the time the next song comes along.
You'll find anytime they have an issue, like I said, they sing about it, but they never actually, like, in the course of the choreography or the singing, really take the challenge on that they're talking about. It's just fixed. Like a girl later will get poison ivy, and by the end of the song, she will have applied lotion that she never applied to help with the poison ivy. I don't understand how that works.
The dog ends up stealing the book's hat, which is fastened somehow, I assume.
Velcro, maybe? Buttons?
He gets it back, but then the kid has to help the book get the hat on, and it makes me realize the real world problems with being an anthropomorphic book. It must ruin your life. You have to have a child help you with your hat.
It's a fucking handicap. It's bad.
I think these kids are here to watch him, not the other way around.
Then they take the opportunity because Bible things. Let's sing a song about learning the Bible, because all the kids are like, oh, you could never memorize the Bible. Then each one of them fucking sings about something they've memorized out of the Bible. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. It should have been the book song.
Salty gives a speech after that, and I wish I could pay attention to whatever stupid thing he's saying, but all I can pay attention to is the dog in the background copping a feel of this, like, 9-year-old girl's butt.
Oh, yeah.
And the jokes I was making earlier to Jake about him being a pedophile stopped becoming jokes and being more like, ooh, I hope that kid, like, was alright after this, because this isn't cool.
Like, whatever happened to her, it's long past, but you find yourself rooting for her anyways during the viewing of this. Like, just run away!
Get away!
Hope a parent and or guardian is here to protect you!
Salty gets a solo, too, which clearly not this guy's voice.
Be him.
It's like the difference between in Mulan when Donny Osmond is the singing voice of the main guy.
Yeah.
The only thing sadder than being the guy in the salty suit is the guy who must get hired to dub over the guy in the salty suit. How do you put that on your resume? Oh, I see here you were on this album, Kids Praise 5. What was that? Oh, well, this guy was a dude in a book suit, and I wasn't good enough to perform as the book suit, but I was there to sing over him. You ever seen Singing in the Rain? It's like that, but much sadder. Dog's still touching that kid, by the way.
Yeah.
Through this whole thing. It's very suspect, especially the camera pans at one point, and it's no longer in frame, but that guy's probably still touching that kid. I don't know what's happening, but I hope I never have to find out. They sing another song about climbing the mountain, and then at the end of the song, they are at the top of the mountain, which you can tell, because there is a sign that says Top of the Mountain Campsite.
That's good.
There's no segue to the next song, it just happens. I think at this point it's like a drive-by singing. They do not care anymore. If you're even paying attention, they just had an album and they needed to put film to it.
We wrote 12 songs, we're gonna sing them, goddammit.
Halfway into this song, what I can only describe as Native American animals and trees show up, and they don't reference that they're there.
No one even is like, oh, remember the moose and whatever that pink thing is? Pretty sure neither of them are supposed to be animals. I think they're just furries that heard music and were like, we should join in! And then 2 of their friends were tree furries. I don't know if there's a brand of furry that likes to dress up as trees, but this group of 4, they had 2. So I have no idea. And then by the time the song's gone, they just kind of like go away into the dark woods and they're gone.
They show up again later, but they never verbally reference that they're there. So maybe Salty's just kind of hoping they'll go away of their own volition.
And then right after that, Salty's like, okay, kids, split up into the wilderness. Here's a bunch of jobs. And he sends 2 of the kids just out, I think to find firewood or something. And it's the big brother and the little sister with the annoying voice from earlier, and they get lost in the woods!
But that's only relevant for the last 10 minutes, so let's not worry about that. Back at the camp, they're having yet another song number, and I like that the kids are placating to him and letting Salty play this fake guitar, because clearly his disabilities are not allowing him to play a real one. It's the fakest fake guitar I've ever seen.
You could have easily given the guy a real fucking guitar. You can't tell me one guy in production didn't have a guitar just at his house. It's like, yeah, guys.
I feel like he probably did, but he didn't respect the production enough to allow them to use it as a prop.
They just cut styrofoam into the shape of a guitar and spray painted it yellow and drew black lines on it for strings. It's so bad. They had the production to make all those trees in the background. Make one less fucking tree. Spring for a good fake guitar.
The furries show up again during this song, too. Again, not referenced at all. I don't know what they're doing. I'm confused. The one's clearly a moose. The other one's...
It's like a squirrel, but also like a fantasy rabbit.
Pink skunk? I don't know.
But they have like headdresses on like Native Americans.
Oh, God. We get the dog, and he sprawls out on these children, several children, and they go... Blooper. Blooper's the name of the dog, by the way. It's irrelevant. They go, Blooper wants to sleep with us, Kenny? And you can see this dude's bulge, and it's... You know, this guy, for all I know, might be the nicest guy in the world, but when you're sprawled across 3 children and we can see your junk, I'm not cool with this.
No. And it's a weird sprawl, too. He didn't, like, lay on him. He kind of, like, he took a knee and then put his back leg up on him and spread out so that his, like... inner thigh was on their outer thigh.
It was like how much physical contact can I allow without looking too weird?
Yeah, it was to maximize surface area but minimize suspicion.
What happens now is they're all asleep or something.
In the shitty tents that will provide no coverage from the elements.
One of the kids wakes up and is crying.
It's the one with the fancy belt, man.
And they wake up the other kids and he's like, I want a nightlight. And they pan over and...
Yep.
Oh, God.
Okay, here's the sentence. I'm going to say this sentence, and I'm not making this up. 3.5 foot tall Scottish firebug with one of those Scottish golfing hats and a kilt. And,
he's Christian also.
He's a Christian.
Why wouldn't he be?
He probably was Catholic, but, whatever. He can be Protestant for this one. And,
if the people on this production hadn't yet decided... none of this was going to matter and they should stop trying, this is where it happened.
Yeah.
This was where the last guy was like, this isn't going on my resume. The firebug is apparently handicapped too because he has one wing. Aww. And then they sing a song about how great it is God made him handicapped so he can glow for people. I couldn't make this up if I was the highest person who's ever been high. That is a fact. And it's a whole song about how great it is that his butt glows and the kids are like, yes, I am all about this. Salty shows up at the end for no reason. He's just there. Why?
Meanwhile, those 2 kids are still missing. And nobody noticed. It got to dusk and they all went to bed. And he didn't fucking take a head count. He is the worst camp leader ever. It's because he's a book.
The dog shows up because, of course, the dog's the only one who would notice how many kids there were.
He's the only one that cares how many kids there are because it maximizes his pleasure.
They're safer with the pedophile dog than they are with the irresponsible book, frankly. And the dog's like, hey, they're missing in dog language because, of course, he doesn't speak English. That would be ridiculous. And Salty's like, oh no, let's go find them. They walk around for a while, cuts back to the kids. The kids are like, what are we gonna do? Let's pray. They have a song where they pray. Cuts back to Salty. He also has a song where he prays. By the way, this supervising adult book, whatever you want to call him, has not called the police after these children have been missing for at least 5 hours. He decides to pray. I don't want to put a value judgment on this book as a person. Bad person, though.
And keep in mind, there's a quartet of furry/tree people that dispersed into the wilderness, probably trying to pick off the lone kids one at a time or 2 at a time.
Yeah, they were fine when they were all in a group and the furries were there and they were ignoring them, but when you get those kids alone, who knows what the ulterior motives are going to be?
They just walked around on top of a mountain in furry suits. They can't obviously be trusted.
So then we pan away from that prayer and literally these kids are fucking 5 feet from the other group of kids.
But they don't notice.
Until they do, for no reason. They're just like, oh, there they are. Like, yeah, this is a closed set. It's like, it's not even a big set for as far as what it could have been. I'd hate to pile on, but on top of everything else that's terrible about this, you can see this kid's mic very clearly in this shot, and I hate that.
And you can see it on a couple of the other kids, too, after you notice this one. You're like, oh, shit, it's been like this the whole time?
I was distracted by the giant talking book and pedo dog. So, then the kids are like, oh, praying saved us. No, they looked for you and found you because you were right next to them the whole time.
So we learned the moral of this, which apparently is, getting lost made us realize how much we need the Lord.
What?
I don't understand how that follows. What it should be is, getting lost on top of a mountain is dangerous as fuck, and you should not do it if you can help it. You should stay with the group. But instead, they're like, I guess it's fine. You can just pray. And the kid describing the situation is like, yeah, we got lost and it just looked the same. And we finally prayed about it and then you found us. I should have prayed first and it would have been all taken the fuck care of. No, they would have been in the same exact fucking position and then you would have done more. And if you hadn't prayed at the time you did, because you were sitting 5 feet away from each other, you would never have found each other. And then this episode would have ended with 2 dead children.
Which would have been better.
On a mountaintop.
I'd like to see that book get arrested for gross negligence. They pray again because there wasn't enough in this, apparently, even though half the thing was singing and talking about Jesus.
But the utility belt kid's sitting on the pedo dog.
Oh, dog, you're not making it easier for yourself.
So, instead of learning getting lost shows you how much you need the Lord, what I learned is, if you want a child's balls on the small of your back, dress up like a dog.
Ends with a solo from the book. It doesn't matter in the least. They just needed to round it out with something, I guess. But the furries show up again. Again, no one even is like, hey, what's up with those
No
animals?
one's even like, hey, cool headdress, moose.
Nope.
You're a moose.
And then there's a pose, and then it ends with the logo. Nothing we could say about this will ever live up to what it is. All I'm going to say to you now is...
click the link in the description.
Or right here on the screen.
Yeah.
Go and watch this fucking video.
I can't even.
This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. There was a talking book and a dog who was probably behind the scenes touching some of these kids, which is terrifying.
Sneaky.
It's like watching a train wreck. You know what's happening and you know what happened like 30 years ago, but you're like, oh god, get out.
There's also sneaky animals like that are made up and Native American, but also tree people.
And a cricket. What? A cricket?
It's not really a cricket. It's a lightning bug, firefly. But it's Scottish.
I don't understand. So I guess that's all we can say about it.
I mean, our final assessment is it's the worst, but you can't not see it. This is like Troll 2.
This is the ace of movies. It is a 1 and an 11 simultaneously. It's the Schrodinger's cat of Christian films.
It's so... I mean, look at the guy's face!
So yeah, go check that out. You can always check us out on Twitter at Bible Reloaded.
You can follow Hugo at Hugo Reloaded.
You can donate to our Patreon if you want.
2,000 will get you a Harold Penisman thing, and we never have to do this again. And
oh my god, if you have any kids shows you want us to watch like this from, Christian things.
Guess, yeah.
Yeah, we might do Bible Man on this because we haven't done Bible Man in a long time.
Oh, he's bad though. You can always press the subscribe button.
Or not.
Or, it's not our fault that this happened.
It is. We picked it.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it got requested a lot.
So, I guess that's it.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be.
Until next time, I'm Hugo.
I'm Jake.
This has been the Bible Reloaded.
I apologize.